Hello class, today we're going to be learning lesson 1-5 in your textbook. This is all about learning how to use a problem-solving plan. So we're not going to do a lot of work in this lesson that I want you to take notes on, but simply what I want you to do is to really think about when you get a word problem of any kind, what do you do? And I think that this is where a lot of you just get tripped up all the time. So what I want you to do is to follow along with me. We're going to go over 4 steps that are going to help you just create your own plan. I may not always be around you to help you out with a word problem, so what can you do at your own? The very first thing is to read and understand what this problem is asking you. Okay, so as you're reading through the problem, you need to figure out what info does it give you. What information does it give you? So you want to pay attention if it's giving you any dollar amounts or any measurements, any amount of kids in the problem. What information is it giving you? That's what you need to first figure out. So if it's on a worksheet, it's really good to be able to underline things, or on your own paper, make a list of different information that it gives you. Also, what is it asking you? I think a lot of students, when they come and they say, I'm stuck, the first thing that I say is, well, what is the problem asking you to find? Okay, so look for that. Normally it's probably the last sentence of the word problem. So think of that last sentence, and it'll normally say, so finally after all this information, and it'll give you a question. Find for me the total number of blah blah blah, or what is the solution? Okay, so look in that last sentence. So that's your first step, is simply just to read and to understand what the question is asking you. Secondly is make a plan. Okay, so you've read through and now you got to decide, what are you going to do? So pick an approach. Pick an approach. Maybe you're going to try to add different things together. Maybe you're going to try to divide. So you're going to pick an approach to help you solve the problem. And what I would say is, a lot of times, if you can't really understand it just by reading it, maybe you need a visual, is to make some sort of diagram. If it's talking about how many apples they're selling, then maybe draw some apples. If it's talking about the area of a shape, maybe draw a little sketch of that shape. So making a diagram or a table can sometimes help you. Third is just simply solve the problem. Okay, so you chose an approach in your second step, so you're going to try it out. Try out your approach. And what do you think you do if that doesn't work? If it doesn't work, then try something else. And try something else if it doesn't work. I promise you that this is what all your teachers do. If they're given a brand new word problem that they've never seen, first they're going to read it through, make sure that they understand what it's saying, and then they're going to go through their list of all these possible plans of what they could ever possibly do, and they're just going to pick one. And they're going to try out their first choice, and if it doesn't work, then they're going to try something else. Once you finally do get an answer though, the most important thing you can do is look back, and you want to ask yourself, does my answer make sense? I think that a lot of time students will get an answer, and maybe the problem was asking you, how much money was Johnny paid an hour? And you get an answer and it's like $52 billion. Well, does that make sense? Is he really going to make $52 billion in an hour? Probably not. So you just want to make sure that your answer makes sense. So those are the 4 steps. The only other thing that I'm going to go over with you today is a couple of formulas, because in this section you're going to have a variety of different word problems, okay? And a lot of time, if you have some formulas in your head, like area, I know that I'm going to multiply the length times the width, or perimeter, I'm going to add up all the sides. If you have some sort of formula, it'll help you out. So what is a formula? Well, a formula is simply a rule expressed in symbols. Okay, that's all that a formula is. It's a rule, oops, and I said rules, a rule expressed in symbols. So I'm going to give you 4 very popular ones that might help you with some of your word problems. The first one is in regard to temperature, and the formula I'm going to give you is C equals 5/9, it's a fraction, parentheses, that means times, capital F minus the number 32. Okay, this is the temperature formula. And what this is going to be useful for is maybe you're given a temperature and it's in Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit. So maybe it gives you degrees in Fahrenheit and it wants you to turn it into Celsius. Well, you can plug it into this formula. Really easy. And vice versa, if it gives it to you in Celsius, you can plug it in and you can find out what the temperature would be in Fahrenheit. So that's the first one that I'm going to give you. The next one is called simple interest. So this means if you put money in a bank account and the bank is going to give you a certain percentage of interest as you leave your money in the account, how much are you going to get in the end? And the formula is the following. It's capital I equals capital P, then lowercase r, and lowercase t. And for this one, capital I stands for interest. So how much interest are you going to make on your money? Capital P stands for the principal. Okay, the principal amount. So that means how much starting money do you put in your account? That's what's called the principal. R stands for the rate. Okay, I'm going to put it's the interest rate. And normally this is going to be as a decimal. And finally, the T stands for time. So that's a really good formula to have on hand. The next one I'm going to give you is in pink. It's the distance traveled, and it's a very short formula. Lowercase d equals r times t. All of these are lowercase. Oops, and it looks like my battery's dying. So the distance traveled, lowercase d stands for the distance traveled. The lowercase r stands for the rate. Normally, it's probably talking about like the speed that you're going. And t, again, stands for time. The final formula that I'm going to give you is profit. If you're asked, how much profit did I make on something? It's going to be this formula. Capital P equals capital I minus capital E. Looks like pi. Where this time, capital P stands for profit. Okay, not to be confused with the capital P over here for principal. Capital I stands for income. So how much money you bring in, maybe if you sold something. And E stands for expenses. This would be really useful for If you had a lemonade stand and you want to find out how much money you made, what's the profit, well, you would calculate how much income you made based on how much you sold, and you would subtract the expenses, how much it costs to buy the lemonade or the water, or any signs that you might have. So these are just some formulas that will help you out. So come with any questions that you have when you come back to class, and I will help you when I see you.